What's up guys, David here, and I may be the definition of an average student. Like, I never had the IQ or mentality to be able to max all of my classes, but my grades were mostly solid enough to where I won't get spanked by my Asian parents. Usually, I would get an A in the class, and sometimes a B, and of course, during my senior year, I mainly got C's. And that's fine. I mean, I'm a human being, a pretty undistinguished one, and I had senioritis. I mean, I still do. Okay, what I'm trying to say is, unlike most Asians, I don't go around simping for teachers just to get an A. And because of that, I've had my fair shares of altercations between my parents. Now, pretty much all of those altercations ended in a sweet note, but so many of them were just pretty much unnecessary. For example, my parents would get really upset at me for not doing my math homework, even though it isn't graded. Or my parents would get really triggered at me for skipping a class, even though one absent won't directly impact my grade. Anyways, through those altercations, I've started to wonder, am I a disappointment? I mean, pretty much all of my cousins went to, Ivy League schools. Anyways, as I was scrolling on YouTube, I came across a video that is telling me no, I am not a disappointment just because I did not get straight A's. The title of this video is Why Perfect Grades Don't Matter. After running into this video, I was shocked. I mean, I've always been aware that, grades aren't everything, but perfect grades don't matter at all? So that is the video we're going to be watching today, and let's go.
For many kids growing up in America's schools, it's easy to get the message that good grades are everything. Straight A's, along with really high SAT scores, are seen as the key to gaining entry into elite colleges and prestigious careers.
I mean, that's true,
but
right?
Does a 4.0 ensure success later in life? The U.S. grading system was created more than a century ago as a measure of academic achievement.
Yeah, I've seen multiple videos talking about how the United States education system is outdated. That's not a new argument, but I just want to bring that up.
But in recent years, grades have become an overwhelming source of anxiety.
Oh yeah.
A 2002 University of Michigan study revealed 80% of students based their self-worth on their grades.
I mean,
the lower their
really
grades,
true.
the lower their self-esteem. And self-esteem isn't the only thing that suffers. Research shows that chasing after perfect grades discourages creativity and reduces academic risk-taking.
Risk-taking?
Over time, some kids even lose their desire to learn.
Okay, that is very true. Like think about it this way. Like, if you're, most of the time, people lose their motivation after failing. So, let's say if they get a bad grade on 2 tests, obviously they're probably not going to be too determined to study for the 3rd test. That's a really good point there. I've never thought of it that way.
Their only motivation? To study just enough to ace the next test. The constant quest for perfect grades can lead to high...
That's another thing I want to point out. Like, most people here, it's even becoming a thing in college, that most people are really just studying for the grade. They're not studying for the actual material, which has become a problem. And I think a good solution to that is to just eliminate all the BS classes. And I think that will help a lot, because this strategy of just studying for the grade was created to bypass BS classes. So if you just get rid of those, I think this problem could be solved. I don't know. I'm just an idiot. I'm just an idiot on YouTube talking about the education system.
And mental health problems. A recent study by New York University's College of Nursing tracked students attending 2 highly selective private high schools.
Okay.
80% of students reported feeling a great deal of stress or somewhat stressed on a daily basis.
Daily basis.
Some students feel the need to resort to cheating to boost their GPAs.
Let's get real here. Pretty much everyone has cheated in high school. I'm pretty sure.
National survey of 24,000 students from 70 high schools, 64% admit.
64% only? Like, by cheating, do you mean like a quiz or a test? Or are you talking about any sort of cheating, like copying homework or plagiarizing an essay? Because there is no way only 64% of high school students have copied homework.
Admitted to cheating on a test.
If I would just watch 5 seconds more, I would actually understand. I think the percentage of students who have cheated on a test is probably still higher than 64%. But I mean, then again, most people who have cheated on a test in high school are not willing to admit it. So, yeah.
With college entrance exams like the SAT and ACT, the pressure can be just as
Okay, I don't want to keep pausing this. I just want to hype up another video. If you're taking the SAT and you're a little bit stressed about it because you don't know what you're doing, I actually made a video that should really help you. So I'll leave that in the description below if you're interested. You can check that out after this video.
intense. While one might think students with the highest scores do better in college, that's not always true. A 2014 study followed more than 123,000 students who attended universities with test-optional admissions policies. The goal was to compare kids who submitted test scores to those who didn't. The researchers found that when it came to grades and graduation rates, the SAT and ACT test scores didn't correlate with how well a student performed in college. Students with top grades in high school but only mediocre test scores actually did better in college than...
Well, yeah, I mean, that obviously, that makes sense. I mean, obviously, like, people who only do good on those those test scores are obviously just there to concentrate on one exam, while people with good grades in high school are there to focus for 4 years. So, obviously, genuinely speaking, students with better grades in school would probably do better in college. That's just how it is, because they're the ones who are more committed to school, you know?
Students with higher test scores but lower grades. That's because high school grades demonstrate a pattern of commitment to hard work.
That's pretty much
but
what I
a
said.
test taken once during an afternoon only reflects performance on a single given day.
Yep.
What about top academic achievers? Do valedictorians
Go on to have disproportionately more success than
No.
their peers.
I mean, name one billionaire that has maxed all of his classes in high school. I can't name a single one. Like, I don't think a single billionaire has been like that. I don't know. I mean, maybe Bill Gates, because he did go to Harvard, right? I don't know. Like, I don't think a single billionaire this describes a single billionaire.
A Boston College researcher tracked more than 80 valedictorians over 14 years to find out how they fared in the real world. Overall, the best and brightest ended up well-adjusted, successful adults with professional careers. But
Yeah,
none
yeah, definitely. I'm not saying, like, those students are not bright. I'm just saying, like, they're not going to be CEOs. They're going to be, like, professionals. They're probably going to be, retire as a millionaire, but they're not going to be billionaires. People in that status just requires creativity at that point. It has nothing to do with, getting good grades in anything.
were categorized as visionaries or trailblazers. Many of the valedictorians admitted they weren't the smartest students. Instead, they described themselves the hardest workers, who gave the teachers what they wanted, rather than exploring the material on a deeper level and taking risks.
Okay.
If grades don't correlate with long-term success, and they take a toll on well-being, is there a better approach?
Hell yeah.
In a worldwide study of student assessment, Finland constantly ranks at or near the top in academic achievement, far ahead of the US. In Finland, tests and grades play a much smaller role, and Finland is still credited as one of the best systems in the world.
That's proof.
93% of students graduate from academic or vocational secondary schools. For the first 6 years of school in Finland, there's no measure of a student's academic ability.
What? Wait, hold on. Then wouldn't students just slack off? I mean, I think if there's no test at all, students are just gonna start slacking off. I mean, that's how it is here. I mean, think about it. Think about us, all of us during quarantine. I mean, there was no pressure and none of us did anything. So yeah, I feel like that's not a good idea either. But I do agree that there should be a lot less tests. But I feel like there should not be no tests at all, especially for students that young. The first 6 years of school, a lot of people are just gonna not do anything, I feel like. Let's continue watching though.
The only standardized test given is a final exam at the end of senior year in high school.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, then I think people are just gonna procrastinate until then, and then they're just gonna overstress about that. Like, that reminds me of Gaokao, which, I mean, obviously Chinese, the education in China is a lot worse in terms of this, but like, it just reminds me a lot about Gaokao. Like, everything leads up to that exam.
Yet, Finland students rank top 10 in the world for academic performance year over year. A
That's
growing number
interesting.
of educators in the US are calling for new ways to teach kids. Instead of simply memorizing information, experts say kids need to learn to think for themselves and develop the motivation to succeed. Tests and grades are unavoidable for most American students, but they aren't everything.
Gotcha.
For many, the key to success will be finding a lifelong passion for learning that extends beyond good grades, test scores, and graduation day.
Is that it? Alright, cool. So that was definitely an interesting video. Like, I do believe that the education in the United States is problematic and should be changed, but I'm not sure if I'm a huge fan of the education in Finland either. Like, kids do need guidance. And if I were to be a 5-year-old going through the education system in Finland, I probably would have been completely lost by middle school. Anyways, that's all I have today. My question to you is, what do you think about the education system in the United States as compared to Finland? Do you agree with it? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time.